I really appreciate everybody joining me on these videos. I get a lot of requests at Decker's Nursery on how to prune certain plants. And one of the things there's two things I always share when I get that question is, why are you pruning? And it takes years to really get good at it. So it's not something I can teach you completely in a video. However, I do want to give you, I think I can give you enough information where you'll feel empowered or confident enough to start spending time pruning the plants in your yard. And if I see, like if there's pitfalls where you can make a mistake that damages a plant, I can make you aware of that, and I'll be doing that today a little bit. But you need to get started, and while you're doing that, you're going to be learning how the different plants grow. So today we're going to spend time with a rose and with a skip laurel. So those are the common questions in March. Most people have forgotten that they needed to prune their roses, and the skip laurels, they grow so quickly that people want to get them under control. So we'll deal with each of them as we get to them. Right for now, I'm going to start with the rose. This is a shrub rose, like a knockout rose. It's one that we have at the nursery, gives us flowers all season, and it has started to put new foliage on. So we're a little late pruning this, but it's okay. You can't hurt a shrub rose. Like, you can pretty much cut them to the ground and they'll just grow back. So today, the objective, what I want to do, I want to contain this rose. I want to make it smaller. I'm also going to thin it a lot so that there's more air circulation, so the sun is getting into the center. That suppresses disease activity. And also, so one of my customers doesn't get hurt when they walk by it. So the first thing I'm going to do is identify the mature stems that are in the center of the plant. So this one really stands out, and I'm sure we're going to edit this a little bit because it's going to take me about 30 minutes to prune this rose start to finish. And so that opens up the center quite a bit. Now I have some crossing branches, and I'm making these cuts. I'm following these branches all the way back to where they meet another parent stem. Okay, this one I'm getting out of the way so I don't get hurt myself and get an eye. All right, now here I'm setting the size of the rose right now. I just took about 2 feet out of the height of this rose by making that cut. And you can see this crossing branch comes all the way across the plant. So I'm coming back here where it meets its parent, and I'm getting that out of the way. We have a few more. This one hasn't been pruned in like 3 years, so there's a lot to cut. And that term for the pruning is lateral pruning. You're always pruning at another branch where they have a junction. The cuts you want to try to avoid are out here on the end, right? So if you just inadvertently just cut here, okay, that's a heading cut. Those are undesirable, and I'll tell you why. Right now, this branch is going to survive, and then this vertical shoot will survive, and then all of this will die, okay? There's no foliage here. There's not enough foliage to sustain the liveliness, like that plant or that stem or branch to survive. So I'm actually going to take it back one more. And that's nice and open now. I can leave that, or I can bring it down a little bit further in a little while. So I have a vertical coming right through the center, and I keep getting grabbed by this big boy in the back. So let's get him out of the way. All right. So that's a pretty big cut. You shouldn't be afraid to make those. These older stems produce less flowers, okay? You want to keep the younger stems, okay? They're going to be more vigorous and floriferous is the term, okay? So I'm going to take a few of these old ones out. And this is interesting. So you see how the stems will change color. So this one has been cut back probably several times, and it's created like a broom effect. So just by making one cut, I opened that rose up significantly. Now I'm going to have less roses this spring because of this pruning, but it's going to be much healthier, and it's just, it's time. I need to prune this. And I just missed the ideal time, which would have been earlier in the winter when it's dormant. Okay. So this should give you an idea about opening the center a little bit. Couple more. Have another large mature stem growing into the fence, and you can see where this has been cut year after year, and you see like that was an improper pruning cut, so that whole section died because there was no foliage to sustain its life, okay? The other thing you could have done here is cut in here, right, and leave that vertical, get the dead tissue off. And so that gives you an idea on how to thin a rose, okay? So now I've made a lot of cuts. I want to step back. I look at the rose. So this side is nice and open. This side is still quite congested. So one or two more clips should help this a lot. And we have a little interference from a bulb. Whenever you're cutting at the bottom, try to get as low as you can without hurting yourself. I didn't mention the gloves. When you're pruning gloves, if I didn't have these on, my hands would be completely bloody right now. We always have these available at Deckers. Don't try pruning roses without a good pair of gloves, and I recommend the rose gloves. So I've been down in the center. Nothing's cutting into me at all. All right. So now I have this vertical. This is really the center of my rose. I have a little dead piece there. This one got broken when I was pulling the branches out. Okay, here's another center, and you'll see what's nice about this time of year, you're getting some new growth. So I don't want to be too drastic on this, okay? I want to leave some of the flower buds that have been set. So I'm just cutting at a bud, okay? That's not a heading cut. I'm cutting at a lateral foliage or another smaller branch, okay? Some dead in here. All right, and I could almost walk away right now and be done. This would be a nice reduction. It's out of the parking lot. I have one piece just interfering with the fence. This vertical has been cut back, so I'm going to look for a lateral bud. That's where I make that cut. I have a vine coming up through there. I want to get that out. And a little more dead. Okay. So you can see now that this has been significantly reduced. It's been thinned. All right, I'm going to pretty much, I have a little crossing branch here, and I'm going to leave this, okay? So it doesn't have an ideal shape, but nobody says they're supposed to. I'm leaving a lot of rows here that should give me plenty of roses for the spring. They'll start blooming around Memorial Day, and it has room to grow this year. So I want to just make sure that I get back on top of pruning this shrub next winter. So anyway, I hope this gives you some confidence. Make sure you have the gloves. Use a good pair of pruners. I use Felco 2s. And if you have questions, I encourage you, come on into the store and I'll work with you as best I can, okay? I'll see you in the garden.